Good evening and welcome to SAFC Fan TV and another edition of the Sunday Punch. Joining myself, Philly tonight, we have Jack Dodds. Jack, how you feeling on this Sunday?
Nearly over it now. It's nearly feeling better, but yesterday,
fair enough. We also have the ladies love him, super sexy powers. Michael, are you all right on this Sunday?
I'm kind of over it, but yay, 4th season in League One. What a time to be alive.
Right, fair dues. Terry, the mad mistake, how you feeling?
Very tired, very subdued, and it's Sunday, so it's shit.
You're not being to church then?
No, back to work tomorrow, so no lie-in tomorrow. Very disappointing.
All
a little
right.
bit hungover as well. A little bit hungover.
All right. We also have Dino with us. We were talking there just before we went live how everybody was down. But Dino's quite chirpy because he predicted it, apparently. Dino, so how are you feeling today?
just a bit tired. I mean, I don't let Sunderland ruin me days anymore because it's just expected now. It's a typical Sunderland thing to do. It doesn't bother us as much as it used to because we're just used to disappointment, and that's what yesterday was, another disappointment, and we've been used to that for the last 5-6 years.
I wish I could do that.
Well,
still young, Jack. You're still young. You've still got about 10 years to go, mate.
Well, listen, if anybody's going to let you down, Sunderland will do it. They are masters of doing that. Before we go any further, I would like to start. I'm just going to hand over to myself in the studio, to myself over at the Stadium of Light. We just want to say a big thank you to the One Football app for sponsoring SAFC Fan TV. It's a superb app. If you want to download it, it is free to download. The link to download it is in the description below. It's got all the latest news on your club, all the players' stats, performance ratings. Follow the transfer news and transfer rumours. They are all available on the One Football app. Once again, a massive thank you to them for sponsoring SAFC Fan TV. Right then, so yes, thanks to One Football for doing that. We are live, which means we are available on the live chat if you want to have your say. And what we may do a little bit further into the show, we may actually invite some people out of the live chat to come live on air with us and well, tell us how you feel, really. So you can comment there. 133 people already on the stream. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I was going to start, lads, with obviously your thoughts on the game. But the rumours come out. I first saw it this morning. Thane had mentioned the rumour of Lee Johnson about to be sacked by the club. So, of course, straight away, I went onto the One Football app, and there it is. And it looks like, though they've not really given a source to it, that Sunderland could be getting rid of Lee Johnson. Jack, already you want in there.
Is this not the exact opposite of what KLD told us when he first came into the club? He said that if we don't go up this season, which is hopeful we will do, we aren't going to panic and make any rash decisions like sacking a manager. I don't really believe this rumour, to be honest.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's an easy rumour to start, isn't it? I mean, everybody's feeling a little bit raw, and but you know, there's a lot of people now sort of calling for his head. Listen, before we go any further, I want to say a massive thank you to Marianne and Carl over in Boston, Massachusetts. They've donated $3 US. Can we have a round of applause for them? Also says, hi guys, but why change a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-2-2 second half? We will get on to all this. I'm sure Terry will go into that in depth. Don't forget the
first half. Like, I didn't think it was.
Well, that's what it said on Sky. They put it as a we had it down as a 4-2-2-2 on our live stream, but Sky is saying a 4-3-3 is what they played. So don't forget, of course, the super chat is available. It's purely optional, but all funds will go to help the channel, grow the channel. If you want to do that, it's the little $ at the bottom of the live chat. Terry, we'll start with you then. Lee Johnson, rumour is that, he could be on his way. You did initially say if we didn't make the playoffs, he should go. Have you changed your mind now, the fact that we haven't even made the playoff final? Would you like to give him a chance, or would you like to see someone else come in?
Well, just basically on that half-time team talk yesterday, God knows what he said to the players. But very disappointing if we did change the 4-3-3 to the 4-2-2, because something did change at half-time. God knows what it was. Obviously, Lincoln changed the way they were playing football. They changed dramatically. Now, if Lee Johnson is to be sacked, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it, what single bit, once at all. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it all. If he was to stay here, I would support him 100%. I'll leave it down to KLD. It's obviously a lot better than what Stuart Dunn and Charlie Methven was, and they're the real reason why we're stuck in this bloody league for 4 seasons, and the goddamn players. But yes, Lee Johnson, if he's to be sacked, well, whatever happens, que sera.
Right, fair enough. You say something changed second half. Well, Lincoln came out, they made substitutions, changed their system, and that's what changed. And I think, if anything, to be honest, I think his half-time team talk, I don't really think he had a lot to say, because we were that good. We were that good first half. I think he's got to be at fault for not responding quick enough to how Lincoln changed. Go on, Jack, we'll hand it to you now.
I don't think Johnson handled the second half particularly well, especially went on. Substitutions like when Flanagan on for Gooch in the 93rd minute, we were chasing the goal, was absolutely baffling. However, I'm not want to buy into this, what was his halftime team talk, because at the end of the day in football, you can't always play well. You're not always going to play badly. Things go up and down, and sometimes not much really causes it. It's form and it's good spells in games. Every single game, unless there's a massive drop in standard between the two teams, you're never going to have one game where one team just dominates for the entire 90. Don't get us wrong. I think Johnson should have definitely handled the situation better. But I don't think he can really be blamed entirely. Take some responsibility, but not entirely for the somewhat of a capitulation that ensued in the second half.
Dino, you want in?
Yeah, I'm getting sick of this whole team talk. What did he say at half time? You can't say anything to make the players play badly. This has been a thing for 3 seasons now, where second half Sunderland turns up. Everyone always mentions second half Sunderland. It's not the manager, it's the players. The players can't play a full 90 minutes of football. We've seen this in the Portsmouth final in the AFL Trophy first season. One half, we absolutely battered them. They didn't even look like we were going to get the game. Second half, them turned it up, but we just dropped tools. You can say, what did he say at half time? These players just cannot play a 90-minute game of football. They can play a good one half and absolutely awful the other, and that's down to the players. People keep blaming the manager. The manager doesn't go on the pitch for them players. The players do that themselves, and they just fell apart. Don't know what happened, but it's the players. It's as simple as that. We've had the same players for the last 3 years, and it's still happening. So if you want to blame the manager, that's up to you. If that's what you think, but for me, it's 100% the players.
Right, Terry?
Yeah, it's everybody to blame the players and the manager. But when, in 10 minutes into the game, second half, every man and his dog could see what absolutely garbage, and Lincoln were going to score. It was a matter of time before Lincoln put that ball in the back of the net, and we didn't make the change. If players can only last 45 minutes, then we need to have players on the bench who can replace the ones that burned up the energy. The manager must know which players are fit and which ones cannot last a full 90 minutes. We all knew Maguire wouldn't last a full 90 minutes because the guy has never had any game time. So you need to have that plan B. We had no plan B at all. It was pointless yesterday, second half. Awful substitutions. And we didn't react. We didn't react, simple as. Well done, Lincoln and Michael Appleton. He reacted. He made the changes. He did the team down at half time. It's down to the manager to G up the players. He needs to get these players. If the players have only got 45 minutes in them, he needs to kick their goddamn backside, simple as, and make the changes straight away. If they come out and they sleep first 5 minutes, either tell them so or get them off the pitch and bring on a couple of more players altogether.
That's a fair point, that Terry. Michael Appleton. Whether they were shocking first half or we were that good, they had to do something. And you're right, he responded at half time, did exactly the right thing. Is it that Lee Johnson doesn't actually have that in him? Because, soon as he saw when they came out, and you're right, in the first 10 minutes, you saw what was going to happen. And Lee Johnson should have then responded to that. Michael, we'll bring you in. We did say, the rumor is that Lee Johnson could be on his way. Would you be all right with that?
I personally wouldn't get rid of him, but I can't excuse him. It's a season where it's ended in yet another failure, and it'll always be that way as long as we don't get promoted from this division. I do think that, well, obviously there's a lot of fans. When we know Thane, for example, is not Johnson's biggest fan, shall we say? But for me, I do reminisce with what Jack's saying a bit though, because this seems to me, if we do get rid of Lee Johnson, this is exactly the opposite of what the plan was supposed to be going into it. And I can't believe that. Personally, I don't believe the rumor. I do think, I wouldn't believe that KLD would think, oh, right, we'll sack Lee Johnson. I'm pretty sure KLD had a big part in bringing Lee Johnson to the club in the first place. And put it this way, whatever we think, and I know Terry's going to disagree with me on this, but whatever we think, I just can't see him going. And if you want to look at it this way, Johnson's had to have a lot of adversity to overcome since he's come here. And this isn't me making an excuse for him. This is fact. When he first came in, we had a COVID outbreak. A couple of weeks after that, we had the January transfer window, of which we still had a salary cap, by the way, which restricted who we could bring in. And again, in that time period, we had about a 3-week period where we didn't play a game. We couldn't even train because of the COVID outbreak. Then on top of that, you've also had one fit centre-half over the last 2 months. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that he's not culpable for anything, because the run we went on to not finish in the top 2, somehow finishing fourth from a 3-horse race for the top 2, is embarrassing. And one of the things that if he does stay, if he stays for next season, that needs to be addressed significantly, is this streaky Lee thing that he goes on. We need to eradicate the bad run that we went on. Next season, we cannot afford to go on a 7-game winless run or anything. The most amount that Sunderland should be going in League One for me without winning is 2 or 3 games at maximum, unless in these games something wild happens that's just like unforeseen circumstances. So I would keep him personally, but one way or another, I don't think he's going anywhere, whether we want him to stay or not.
Right. Well, just very quickly, we'll go to the chat. Steve Flounder says, highlights. KLD has a simple question to ask himself. If he has any doubts about Johnson's ability to get us promoted, he should replace him. Simple as that. Joshua Billingsley says, are you happy if Lee Johnson gets sacked? That's what we're saying. Chris Law says Johnson has lost the plot. Glyn Jones, we didn't react to Appleton's changes, which is basically what we said. Thane, friend of the show, says 2 wins out of 11 in all competitions for a club this size is absolutely shocking, sackable offence. I know when we watch Thane, he's not a fan, and he wants he is wanting rid. DJ Earth says, when Lincoln scored, we all knew the game was over. DJ Earth as well, I want to say thank you. He's been in touch with us today. He's going to do a little bit of a promotion for us on his taxi over in Carlisle. Sorry, are you wanting back in there?
What I want to say is, if KLD is going to do it, he needs to do it tomorrow. Simple as. Get rid of him straight away, get a new man straight in, give him time to build his own squad. If he's going to back Lee Johnson, then fully back him. Simple as. One way or the other. And they messing about in between, humming and hawing for weeks and weeks and weeks. Get it over and done with, or come out and say, he's staying, I'm going to back him. All right.
Again, on the chat, Colin Major there says, bring Phillips and Quinn in together. Already looking at things. In that case, then, I'll throw into the mix. I know it's not going to happen, but I might as well chuck it in anyway. Sam Allardyce is leaving West Brom, unfinished business, and if there's money
Sadly,
there,
no chance.
Is it too far for him to drop down? Do you think, Michael? You're saying no chance?
No, I think. Well, he's left a Premier League club. Why would he want to come to a League One club? I do get what you mean. Look, I would take him back definitely, but then again, if you look at it, No, we just can't see him doing it. The only way that he would come is if we said, right, okay, you're not going to have the biggest budget in the world compared to what he's had to work with before, but there's a big bonus if you get us promoted. That's the only way that would happen, and even that is like a 0.01% chance. There's literally next to no chance for me that he would come here. Possibly in the Championship, maybe realistic, but in the League One, not a cat and hell's chance, I'm afraid.
Right, quickly before I do quickly pass that round, I want to say a massive thank you to Ben Dawson. He's donated £5 via the super chat. Can we have a round of applause for Ben?
Champion, man.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, man.
And very nice of you, Ben, to say a big thank you for all the class content this year. Can't wait for next season. Have a relaxing summer where the lads keep the faith. Relaxing summer. I don't know about that. We will actually be covering all the Euros here. We've got loads of stuff lined up for you to keep the content coming. So hopefully keep you entertained throughout the summer months. Like I said, we've got some great ideas, and the £5 you've donated will certainly help to the running of keeping this going through the summer. Dino, Sam Allardyce, just to chuck it in there.
I mean, fantasy world, innit? It's fantasy world. I mean,
sorry. Let me rephrase then. Let's say he could be tempted. Would you be glad to have him back? No.
Well, yeah, I would like to have him back, but I live in the real world, Phil, where we'll sack Lee Johnson, and then everyone will be going, well, who do we get in? But he's wanting him sacked. I mean, nobody ever knows. People know who they want in, but it's so unrealistic. They always want the most unrealistic managers. I mean, wasn't someone shouting for picking? Oh, what's his name again? Used to manage Sunderland. I can't remember who it was.
Guardiola.
Who? People were shouting for Gus Poyet. I mean, it's just so unrealistic. Gus Poyet came from League Two with Brighton. Why would he want to come back here when he's kind of classed as a Premier League manager in a way? I mean, everyone calls for Lee Johnson to be sacked, but everybody wants unrealistic managers to come in. It's not going to happen. I mean, why? Lee Johnson's been here 5 months. It's not his players. It's not his team. When he first came, we're out the playoffs. Yeah, it was by 4 points, but under Parkinson, we're just going like that. You could say there was just a downward spiral.
I'm going to go Dino. I mean,
what?
Are we not going like that now? I mean, we was probably
technically there, Phil. Technically not. And statistically, this has been our best season in League One. We finished the highest we've ever finished, and we won the AFL trophy. We haven't done that when we had the best team in League One in the first season, and season 2 obviously points per game, which kind of screwed with. But this year has been statistically the best season we've had in League One, and that's been under Johnson. So I mean,
but Dino was, I mean, you're saying that under Parkinson we was on a downward slope, but I mean we were odds on to go up, automatically, if not as champions. And this has been an appalling run. What we've been on.
Wait there, Phil. Same happened in the first season. We had like 3 games in hand to go in the top 2, and we bottled that. Let's not forget this. Let's not make this out like it hasn't happened before. It has. It's happened before, right. And it's down to the players, not the manager. Yeah, the manager doesn't help himself with some of the decisions he's made. Right. But he can't help if Charlie White doesn't want to square it to Chris Maguire for an easy tap in, or make McGeady hit the post and White hit it wide of the goal when the keeper's on the floor. I mean, Lee Johnson can't stop that. That's just the quality on the pitch, what's actually on there. And don't forget, off the pitch has been a win this season. We've got KLD. There's no longer Stuart Donald in charge. So things have been looking up. It's just unfortunately we didn't win the game yesterday. But me and you said we wouldn't make it past Lincoln.
Have a drink of water. Good lad. I'm going to bring everybody in. Why there's 5 of us on, right? Try and keep it brief, and then we can get everybody on. I'll go to Jack, and then I'll come to you, Michael, because I know you want to. Just very quickly, Rough as a Badgers has donated £5 via the super chat. Thanks, lads. Loved your streams over lockdown. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Rough as a Badgers, for your £5. That will go towards helping the channel grow. Jack, and then we'll come to you, Michael. Jack?
We've had 3 managers since we came down to League One, and not any of them have been successful so far in getting us promoted out of League One. Yet people will always look to point to the same thing. Don't get us wrong. Lee Johnson made some baffling decisions, and yesterday was no different. I've already pointed out bringing Flanagan on. I've got no problem with Flanagan, actually. I think he's think he's a decent defender, but in the 93rd minute of a game, when you're chasing a goal, you're taking an extra time. You don't bring on a centre back, especially not for one of our more creative players in Lyndon. He does make baffling decisions. I'm not going to deny that. However, Rome wasn't built in a day. He's been here a few months. Very few of the players he's signed. You got to give managers time. Was it not Alex Ferguson nearly got relegated in his first season at Man United or something like that? And look what happened there. I'm not comparing Lee Johnson to Alex Ferguson before anyone makes it out that way. All I'm saying is that you've got to give it time. We've had 3 managers in this league. None of them have worked out yet. Every single time, that's who we've pointed the finger to. To be honest, I don't think the players are good enough. I really don't think the current squad we've got is actually good enough to confirm automatic promotion. We nearly got there. We dropped off. We went to bad run of form because the squad isn't good enough. That's why in this squad is significantly worse than what we had in the first season. Why on earth is it always the manager's fault to get the finger pointing him? Dino pointing out there, if when Wyke beat the keeper, he could have squared Maguire or could have had a shot or whatever. Johnson's got no control over these things. Johnson's got very little control over Tom Hopper getting a free header in the box when you're fighting for your lives to not concede, has he?
Right, I'll come to you, Michael. People are quickly on the chat saying that Gooch was knackered. I mean, Johnson had control of his substitution, bringing Flanagan on for Gooch. Everybody's screaming out, why didn't he bring, even if Gooch was limping, why was it Flanagan and not, Jones, somebody like that? Michael, you was wondering when you're ready.
Well, here's a question I would ask everybody then. Would everyone be as disappointed with the outcome of this season if, say, and I know this is hypothetical because I can't say ifs because obviously it didn't happen this way, but hypothetically, say Sunderland's bad run that we had recently happened a couple of months ago, and then we had a good run towards the end of the season and then finishing the playoffs, but we were never ever in a top 2 mix. Would people be as disappointed with that? Because I think it's the fact that I think it's the fact that we were close to the top 2 and fell away that what people have been disappointed with. And I make no mistake, I've said I don't want Lee Johnson to go, but ultimately the run we went on for us in this league isn't acceptable. But I will also point out, bad runs are not just exclusive to Lee Johnson, and I'm not saying Johnson is like Jurgen Klopp anyway. He's not even in the same caliber. But look at it, didn't Liverpool go on a run this season where they had 7 defeats in 9 or something? Liverpool went on almost as bad a run this season, yet they haven't sacked him. So I know Johnson's not Klopp before someone in the comments goes off it, but I'm just saying that bad runs aren't exclusive to Lee Johnson. It happens everywhere. Let's just wait and see what happens this summer. What for me is important is establishing what style of play we want to do, and then say next season, if Johnson doesn't get the best out of them and he has to go, bring a head coach in who's already adapted to a style of play, and there's not a transitional phase like we had to do this season with Parkinson to Johnson. That for me is just as important this season or this summer.
Right. I think, to be fair, up until half time, we were absolutely superb until half time, and then it all went wrong. Right, I just want a quick answer from you all. I'll pass this around then. Lee Johnson in or out? And if you're a Lee Johnson out, I'd like to know who you would like to replace him. But just keep this quick, then I can pass it around. Terry, in or out?
I'll go with whatever KLD does.
Oh, wait, stop sitting on that fence.
Fence sitter.
Man, get the splinters out your
I've
backside.
already said if he made it to the playoffs, he stays. So I'll do whatever KLD does, even though I don't like him.
So you're saying a stay. Jack, in or out?
In.
Michael, in or out?
In.
Dino, in or out?
In.
Yeah, in for me as well. I think it's not his team. He's got to be given a fair chance. Quick shout out to Ryan Sweeney, £5 via the super chat. Thumbs up for Ryan Sweeney. Thanks very much, lads. It's tough watching Bruce Paul, but it feels. But I feel for you, lads. Right then. Different people on the chat suggesting names to come in if he was out. Roy Keane, Pearson with Phillips. Somebody said Peter Reid. Paolo Di Canio. Don't start me with that. Right then. So where did it all fall apart then this season, lads? At what point? What was the turning point? Do you think where we was there and then we weren't there anymore? Michael, do you want to start us off with that?
The turning point, if you had to point one moment why we fell away, it's that Wigan game. That Wigan game was the one for me that was what did it. And ultimately, the biggest reason for me why we haven't got into forget the playoffs, why we haven't got into the top 2. And I'll just reaffirm our record against the current bottom 5. lost twice to Wigan.
Stats.
That's 6 points drop right there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've only done the double over one of the teams who got relegated, which was Swindon. We've drawn at home to Bristol Rovers. Okay, that's at the start of the season. Even if you let that one go, because anything could happen on the first game. But then you look at Rochdale away, in the lead twice, dropped 2 points there. Didn't beat Northampton, drew twice against them. We lost at home to Plymouth. We lost away to Shrewsbury. We lost at home to MK Dons. We drew away at MK Dons. Those are the results. Drew at home to Burton. There's another one. There's countless other ones I probably won't be able to think of at the top of my head. But those are the results for me that have cost us this season. It's not necessary. And I remember people were going on about when we drew at Peterborough. Oh, draw Peterborough's not a great result? Yes, of course it is. Look at Peterborough's home record this season. At that time, that result for me was not the problem. The problem is that it lessens the pressure when you go against those sides. If you beat the sides that you should be beating down the bottom end of the league, you drop points occasionally. Fair enough, it happens. But we drop points against bottom half sides far too often, and that's something next season that simply has to be addressed if we want to have a chance of getting automatic promotion.
Right, very quickly, go to the chat. It's like the okie cokie here. People are saying in, out, in, out, in, out, and all that. Tony Lee, friend of the
Shake
show,
it all about.
says out there. DJPB says, what about Eddie Howe if he goes away?
Did you really
He
think
won't come here.
This is what I mean. Like the most unrealistic managers. These people play football manager for a living, didn't they?
Go on, Dino.
Dino, do you not want Mauricio Pochettino?
Oh,
You tell it how it is.
Mourinho's out of a job, isn't he? Get him on the blower.
Yeah, Jack.
No, he's on
Jack,
board.
where did it all fall about for you then, Jack?
I think if you look at a specific game, it's got to be Wigan. I accepted that when we got beat against Charlton, that, out of the remaining games, you are probably going to slip up at some point. But then losing Charlton on a bad side as well. But losing to Wigan was absolutely atrocious. And the way we did it as well, going behind after going in front, losing the game to a side that was where they were in the league was just absolutely disgusting, really. But to be honest with you, I'm not going to blame it on a manager or a specific player. I think overall the season went wrong with the recruitment. If you go back to the start of the season, we began this campaign without an attacking midfielder. It's been the problem, in my opinion, since Honeyman left. But I think since I came into League One, we've always struggled with we've had a lack of someone to link the midfield to the attack, and we've not ever plugged that gap. We started the season again without anyone to plug the gap, so it can create chances centrally. The entire season we've had to go out wide. That's been blamed on managers at the time, but realistically, I mean, we saw how great Embleton's been at Blackpool, but we didn't go out and sign a Scott Fraser, someone like that who can create chances from the middle. I think starting the season again, the strikers we had. Will Grigg, Danny Graham and Charlie White. No one saw this season of Charlie White coming. No one can tell us that before this season thought he was going to go and score these goals. And the other two have terrible previous track records at this club, as did White. Starting the season, was it one left back in Denver Hume? The recruitment's not being good enough for the season. The squad hasn't been good enough. I think that's why. That's where it's all went wrong.
Right, fair enough. I mean, it was the old regime, though, wasn't it? The start of the season, it was a whole different ball game to what it's going to be like this time. Just very quickly, 287 people on the stream already, 70 likes. We just like to hit 100 on a Sunday. Hit the thumbs up. I'll take a second. And don't forget, if you are watching and you haven't subscribed yet, it is free to subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button, and that will help us immensely. Terry, where did it all fall about for you this season? Where did it start to go wrong?
Oh, what can we say? It's just been an average, like me and Dino once said, an average team in an average league. It's been that way all season. But two or three defining moments. Probably losing Sanderson was a big moment, even though he did play for the Wigan match.
Yeah.
Peterborough, when we were drawing and we were getting absolutely battered and we're screaming out to make a change, and he didn't make a change. And yesterday, again, we're getting battered and we're screaming out to make a change, and he didn't make a change. I hope the lad learns from his mistakes and grows as a manager and improves 25% next season.
Right, fair enough. Dino, where did it fall apart for you this season?
For me, too. Start the season when we didn't sign a couple of centre midfielders who can actually create something, because our midfield has been sideways and backwards for the last 2 seasons. I mean, that's the weakest part of our team. Nothing comes through the centre. Everything comes down the wings. And when you nullify the wing play, you've got nothing else. And when with all the injuries we've had, playing centre mids at centre back and playing centre mids at right back, I mean, and playing Callum McFadden at left back, I mean, it's been a huge problem. And We're leaking goals left, right, and centre, silly mistakes. It's been the two things for me: the injuries we've had this season to the defence, and the fact that our midfield is the most average midfield I've ever seen. Honestly, even picking Northampton have a bit absent of midfield than us. I mean, how do MK Dons have a midfielder like Scott Fraser and we don't? It's baffling. So that for me, them are the two problems I think we've had this season, all season.
He was going on a free at the start of the season, yet MK Dons, no disrespect to MK Dons in any way, but how could MK Dons have more of a pulling power than Sunderland to bring him in when he was on a free? Why we didn't do everything to get a player like him, I'll never know.
Right, Terry, you want in there?
So do you know what your thoughts on Elliot Embleton? Should we have kept him?
Well, at the time, probably not, because people said he looked pedestrian. He didn't look very good, and I think the loan move to Blackpool's only helped them. Hopefully, this makes managers realise he's actually for real, because he's done okay at Blackpool, and it shows that he is ready for League One, because he's been out on how many loans, and he's only played like a handful of games for Sunderland. And isn't this funny, right? We get rid of Ethan Robson, who used to play for Sunderland, and Elliot Embleton, who does play for Sunderland. We could have had Luke Garbett on a free, and we could have had Dimitri Mitchell in there in a playoff final. I mean, that just shows the recruitment's been absolutely awful. Blackpool have got 4 players we could have had, and they're playing in a final.
Very cool. I'll bring you in a sec there, Michael. I quickly want to go to the chat. DJ says, I think the announcement will come about Johnson being sacked before midweek. Again, we've more or less said he should be kept. But Tony Lee, friend of the show, makes a good point. If he was to go, what about Nigel Clough? You know?
I would.
Nothing from you. He's more realistic, though, isn't he? I mean, Dino.
Because he was in League One with Burton, wasn't he? I mean, and like obviously we've got there's ties there as well, like a little bit of do you know what I mean? There's all that. So yeah, that is realistic. But putting things out like Gus Poyet and Sam Allardyce is just ridiculous.
Right, Michael, you was one in 3, 2.
Well, one point I was going to elaborate on, it was a point that Jack made again a while ago with Scott Fraser, Luke Garbett, and whoever else, and Dino mentioned Dimitri Mitchell. Again, like, yes, Parkinson had the salary cap, or we had the salary cap at the start of the season, but like I've said many times before, we found out at the start of June last year, oh, right, that's it, season's curtailed, we're going to be in League One. The salary cap didn't come in until the start of August. What on earth was Sunderland doing for those 2 months when we could have got deals over the line? And bearing in mind, I'm sure I saw this as well, the Blackpool signed quite a lot of players well before the salary cap was implemented. Which one of us is in the playoff final again? And which one of us is definitely stuck in this division another season? That should tell you everything. It was just absolutely criminal. And one of the things I will touch on quickly while I'm here is that I don't want Sunderland to rest on their laurels in terms of signing players. I don't want them to think, all right, we'll wait until the start of July. We'll wait until mid-July. No. Go out. In the next from now, start looking at players that you want to get in, and in June get a good bulk. By the time we get well into pre-season, I want the bulk of our signings done. Will it happen? Probably not, because we like to be idiotic. But I'm hoping that we don't rest on our laurel piss about this time. Sorry for my language, but it's the only accurate term I can think of. This is the only last season. Last summer we did that, waiting far too long to get players in before the cap came in.
Dino, you want in?
Yeah, Like Michael says, recruitment's been a problem for years. It's not just this season. I mean, the season 1 in the Premier League, when we could have signed Mvia for 8, but we got Ndong for 15. Like, these are the decisions which actually baffle you. I mean, why didn't we sign Dimitri Mitchell? We needed a left back, and the best we could do was Callum McFadzean. Are you kidding me? So the best left back we could have is Callum McFadzean. Dimitri Mitchell is got pace, which we're crying out for. I mean, centre midfield. And the Madison thing, we wanted him, and he's turned out to be a candidate as well. But that's unfortunate. Luke Garbett as well. Blackpool got him. How have we not got more pulling power than Blackpool? Just these little decisions. Do you know what I mean? It's just criminal. And I'm so glad there's a lot of these players. There's a lot of these players out of contract this season, because I'd like to only see about 3 of them back.
Blackpool more pulling power than us, because it looks like they're going to be a championship side. I think Terry was one, and then we'll go to Jack. Terry?
Yeah, we have to remember this was under the regime of Stuart Donald's penny pinching antics. It's all going to change now. It's all, this bloke hasn't come in just to do the same sort of thing. He's come in to be ambitious and to get the team up. So we'll see a big difference, a big change, I think.
Yeah, a good point, actually. When we did the was at the ground doing the fan cams, and one guy was passionate about KLD, saying, he is, he's a young lad. He's got loads of money, and he's no fool. He knows exactly what he's doing. You can check out the fan cams. They are on our channel. See what we're talking about. Jack, we'll go to you. Then I want to move on.
Yeah, there was a comment I just saw come up that was saying, like, Jack, who do you think we are? We're a small club in the northeast, but at a League One level, realistically, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way to any of the League One clubs, is there a club bigger than us in this division? And I say, I don't mean that to be disrespectful to anyone else, but what I'm saying is these teams like Blackpool, who've pulled in place, MK Dons getting Scott Fraser, there's other players and other teams in there as well. Surely we've got to be the biggest club in this group, in this league. We've got to be.
Hang on.
I'm not saying we've got to go and sign championship players or players who play in the Premier League. Never in a million years. We're not at that level. You can't be having these delusional opinions. But at League One level, for League One players, there's, right, okay, you might not want to go to Sunderland for your own personal reasons, but if you're looking at a club size, there can't be anyone bigger.
All right, just very quickly. I want to remind you, we do have the One Football app, which sponsors SAFC Fan TV. It is free to download, and the download link is in the description below. The reason I mention the One Football app is I went onto that today, and Terry, you've been a big fan of Josh Hawkes. Who I have, to be given his chance. And then news came out that he's going to be promoted to the first team squad next season. Great news for all of us. And we scroll down the One Football app. Could be a shrewd move. Leeds United set sights on signing Sunderland talent. That Sunderland talent is one Josh Hawkes. So there you go. Premier League club, keeping tabs on him. We haven't even given him a run out. So, it must say nothing. Would that be criminal if we was to let him go? I mean, I don't know what the contract situation is with Josh Hawkes, if he still has time left. Terry?
The only way we should let him go is if he wants to go. He doesn't want to play for Sunderland. Simple as. Otherwise, we should do everything to keep the lad. And like I said, get him promoted to League One next season, and hopefully get us up to the Championship.
Dino, if it was to let Josh Hawkes go, I know you've not really, me and Terry have sort of championed him a bit, saying, he's got to be ready under 23s, though I think he's 22, 23 himself, but you was never a big advocate of him. What do you think? Would it be a big mess if we let him go to Leeds?
You just don't know. It's like you don't know what players are capable of because they've never really had a good run out in this league. Look at the whole Barley Mumba. Barley Mumba was 17 when he was coming through. He played for the England setup. This bloke had a bright future. We wouldn't even play him. Josh Hawkes, yeah, he's scored a lot of goals, but so did Kimpe Yoka. Kimpe Yoka's a under 23 Sweden international, I think. So was Barley Mumba, and Josh Hawkes isn't. So, do you take that into account? I'm not 100% sure. But I just think there's a lot of smoke blowing on Josh Hawkes, and people have only ever seen him play in the under 23s, and we all know under 23 football doesn't prove anything. You're just playing people who's similar your age, similar experience. They're not playing against seasoned pros and people who know how to actually play football on a competitive level, because under 23 football isn't really competitive.
Yeah, but and again, this happened when we did the fan cams. I'll come in a sec, Terry. When we did the fan cams, a lot of people saying, we should be using the youth, and even more so sort of this season, why was we not chucking these people in? Terry, you was one in there quickly.
Like Dino says, we don't really know, but the people who do know is probably the likes of Leeds and probably the likes of Lee Johnson and those who are saying he's going to get first team next season. So if they believe he's ready for League One next season, then obviously for me he must be. You have to give him a go. You're not going to lose anything if you don't.
Oh, I think we've lost Philly. I think we may have lost Philly.
Must have. And that goes with Dan Neil as well. That goes along with Dan Neil. There's no reason why Dan Neil couldn't be promoted to the league, to the first team next season. If he improves again, he's even younger. Is he about 19-year-old, Michael? That his age?
No, so something like that. But the argument's exactly the same with all these players. Dino's mentioned it before. We've all mentioned it before. If you're not going to be ready for Sunderland at this point in their history, with where we are in the pyramid, you're not going to have a career here. So there's no point for me in not using them. And even if look at the worst case scenario, if these come into the team and they're not as much that, then they could at least be a sellable asset and make a bit of profit. That's the type round in the future, I would imagine. So why not use it? For me, Josh Hawkes, he's had a very, very good... Hang on, didn't Josh Hawkes come from Hartlepool? Absolutely certainly came from Hartlepool. I don't know if he was for their academy or for their first team or what. But either way, he's been in football before. So worst case, like I said, try and get him in. Go on, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, what we've done in years previously, and yes, under the old regime, is bring these through, nurture these players through the academy from the ages of, 9, 10-year-olds sometimes, or something to get them a bit older. I think Hawks came from Hartlepool, so might have came in a bit later, but nurtured them through the academy, get them in the 23s, to play great, and then let them go for peanuts. I mean, Joe Hugel, look at how great he's done. I think he's actually the striker for both Man United's under 18s and under 23s at the age of 17 or 18-year-old. It's absolutely sublime. I personally think that the lad's going to go on and play in the Premier League one day. You look at the likes of Barley Mumble. We all know how great Barley Mumble could be one day, getting promoted with Norwich this season. So we've got to start giving these players a chance, because if you don't, you lose them. And there's absolutely no excuse why the likes of Josh Hawkes and Dan Neil, etc., should be given a shot. The only thing I would say is that they need to be given a chance, not necessarily just playing without question. You know what I mean? You give them the chance if they're doing well enough in the under 23s, but you've got to say Josh Hawkes so far, well, from what we've heard this season, is doing well in under 23s. He's scored absolutely loads of goals. Got to give him a shot. Got to give him a run.
And people mention his age. His age doesn't really bother me, 22-year-old. I mean, look at Mr. Vardy there. He's come through late. He's a late developer. So some players are just naturally late developers. Don't have to be world-class stars at the age of 17, 18 or 19. They might just come good at the age of 21, 22.
Yeah, exactly. We're not entirely what it is we had planned. Philly's just
remember as well the likes of Josh Hawkes,
back ASAP.
I mean, the type of thing. The thing with Josh Hawkes and Neil, remember, is that a lot of the midfielders in particular, or even so that we've had, don't have as much energy in the legs anymore. Where even at like late 20s or early 30s, these guys like Josh Hawkes, for example, probably has got a lot of energy left in his legs. I say Neil, they could give us something a bit more dynamic going forward, especially through the middle of the park, and especially if we're coming up against teams. If they could offer something through the centre, then and then other teams will think, oh crap, we've got to go down. Look, watch what they're doing down the wings. But if we go there, then there's going to be someone down the middle ready to create something for them. Yeah,
I think there's a comment there. AJ's just put on the live chat, said Lincoln average age squad of 23.7. So it doesn't matter. I mean, that's a fair point. I just think you've got to give players a shot. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't rest your hopes on them. But if a player's doing well in the under 23s and there's a gap in the first team, why not just give them a chance at the very least? And like I say, what's the point in actually having a scouting system and an academy and a youth team if you're going to let these players get to the age of playing and the ability of playing, to just let them go for now? Do you know what I mean? Hopefully he comes back soon. But if anyone else has any things to talk about, go on, Dino.
Well, I'm guessing the managers just don't think they're good enough for that kind of football, and they don't trust them to put them in the squad with the rest of the players, because they could be the weak link. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, because at the end of the day, it's good enough us saying, give them a chance, put them on, but putting them on, they might make a crucial mistake, give the ball away in a position they shouldn't, and we'll concede a goal and lose a game. And don't forget, these managers are playing like it's game by game. It goes on how good they've been, and little mistakes can cost managers jobs. So, I mean, like people say, give Ollie Younger a go. If Ollie Younger makes a clang and we lose a game because he's in the team, it goes against the manager because he made a decision to bring him in. So you'd rather go with someone he trusts than someone he doesn't.
But think about the defensive situation this season, though. I mean, I'll go tell you later in a minute, but like with how many injuries and suspensions we've had at the back, and we've had to play, centre midfield. We've been Max Power at centre back, 09 at centre back, and for the most part, I think 09's done a great job at centre back. But you can still see he's been put in mistakes. But the likes of Power playing at the back and everything, we've had to reshuffle the entire system around instead of just giving a lad who's 20, 21. And if you're 20, 21-year-old, you've got to be nearly ready to start playing senior football. You can't just play in the youth team forever. Terry, you were wanting before, weren't you?
Yeah, just before Michael gets in, I mean, let's face it. If they do come in and play, how bad could it get? We've been stuck in League One for 3 seasons now. What we've been doing with these players hasn't been working. So now it's time to take a chance on some quality youngsters coming through, give them a few games. Going to do no harm at all, no harm whatsoever for me. We can't be any worse than we are now, stuck in League One.
Yeah, I go on, Michael.
Yeah, well, 2 points I'd make. The first point is if we were in the Premier League, and I know obviously we're not, so obviously this point's kind of... If we were in the Premier League, the sort of level we'd be looking to loan these players to anyway, and now we're obviously in League One, so why not try and use them at that level? If we, well, obviously they've got to be good enough, but you never know until you play them. And say, what is that, like Jack touched upon before, what is the point of having a Category 1 academy with all the money that that comes with the requirement that comes with a Category 1 academy, the cost of running a Category 1 academy, the fight that we apparently fought very hard to keep a Category 1 academy. So if we're not prepared to use these guys, then what's the point of that? You might as well save the running costs.
Well, I was going to say it, right? Why aren't we loaning these players out anyway? If they're not getting game time, get them out on loan. They're not going to learn anything in under 23 footballs or sitting on the bench for us. Get them out on loan. All the young guys should be on loan to either a League One club or a League Two club. See how he does. Same with Dan Neil. If we're not going to use him, get him out on loan, get him experience, and bring him back in a month, 2 month time.
Yeah.
And we just don't. We'll let them sit on the bench where they're not learning anything. They're just sitting there watching the game. And playing in under 23 football where you're not going to learn much. You need to get in the environment of being in a proper team, playing in a proper competitive league, and to not loan these lads out is absolutely criminal. I mean, why is wasn't Patterson supposed to go out on loan? That didn't happen. I mean, just so many questions. Why aren't these young lads out on loan, learning the trade, and they're just sitting on the bench and sitting in under 23 football? This is why players aren't developing very well.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's only so far you can actually go in the under 23s before you kind of hit that ceiling where you can't go any further. So I want to point out a comment as well. It's predetermined, says this year is the ideal year with no crowd pressure to bring youngsters in. And we mentioned about the mental impact, and that's maybe why certain youngsters have been left out, the likes of Ollie Younger and etc. It's more the mental impact and looking at them maturing into a first team player and hopefully not destroying the confidence if they make a costly error. But considering there's been no crowd pressure in for all but the last game of the season, like the semi-finals, these little mistakes that they could make next season, the fans, and they'll seem insignificant anyway. They haven't got the fans to get back and to get on the back.
So, sorry about that, fellas. And I've gone a little bit red. I don't know what's happened with the camera. You haven't been talking about me while I've been away, have you?
Oh, it's all we've talked about, Phil.
Oh, thanks. It's great to be talked about rather than not be talked about. Right. Well, I've missed what you was on about. But I did want to ask about the fans. 10,000 fans allowed back in the ground yesterday. Jack, you got a ticket. We were on for Adam French in the chat said we Philly just off the sunbed. That's exactly where I've just been. A quick sunbed. We had the stream on, and I'm gonna have to do something about that. Point us off. We had this. Karen, shut up, man. We had the stream on, but we had to turn the sound off, so we couldn't get it. But everybody said what a cracking atmosphere it was. Jack, do you want to tell us more about it? Your experience on being back in the ground?
Yeah, it was. To be honest, it was quite emotional. I mean, I remember when the players came out just to warm up, and there was got barely anyone in at this point of the 10,000, but you just heard this roar as the players were even just coming out to warm up. But I would honestly say that atmosphere yesterday is one of the best I've ever experienced at the Stadium of Light, and that's with 10,000 fans in it. It's a bit of a cliche. I've seen loads, but I've been seeing it on social media, but it did feel like 40,000. There was one moment where I stopped chanting for just a second, held back and listened, and it felt exactly back to normal. The atmosphere was just absolutely brilliant yesterday. I think we just let out for the ones who were fortunate enough to get in, it was just like letting out about the season's worth of just shouting and screaming, and wasn't all positive, of course, but to me, I would say is when I went in, I didn't feel as if I didn't feel any different to previously. I thought I'll be putting that experience on a pedestal, but it didn't feel as if much time had passed in a way. I don't want to keep going on because I don't want to like rubbing in people's faces, because I know a lot of people were disappointed about not going, and I would be as well. But the atmosphere yesterday was just absolutely insane. Like,
Right. Well, I've got a
by the
question.
way, sorry, Philly. I was going to say, Jack's famous. He was on the telly, man. He was on the telly.
Well,
See,
Dino, you're stealing our glory here. This is what I was just about to say. Different ones saying, Josh, I saw Jack on the telly. Bradley Young, saw you on Sky Sports, Jack. If you didn't, by the way, there he is. Obviously in the family enclosure, being only 12 years old, sat there.
What a picture.
That was just before they put out, if you was there, you might have heard it over the PA system, of a lost child. And that's exactly where he was. Terry, you're one in there.
So, Jack, when you go to the ground, what's the crack with the masks? And do you have to wear them at certain places or not?
In all honesty, there wasn't much rules. I just had mine round my neck, and then if anyone said wear it, then I'll pull it up. But I genuinely didn't see anyone enforcing any mask rules. I mean, I didn't see very many people masks on. In the area I was in anyway, I could probably count on one hand the amount of people I saw with masks on.
Do you have to have a negative COVID test?
Nah, nothing.
No? Nothing at all?
There was a one-way system around the stadium, and then there was bits of spaces between each seat, which you might not have picked up on the TV or whatever, but there was bits of space between each seat. So it was a one-way system, and that was about it, I think.
Was traffic lights?
Traffic lights? No.
Traffic light system.
No, Philly's on red.
Right. Well, Dino, come in, and then I'll chuck a question around, and then I was going
to ask you something, if that's all right.
No, it's not. I've just come out the sunbed, man.
Well, I mean, did any of you see the fans who had to go at Lee Johnson and apparently the Charlie White situation? I mean, I thought that was
I did.
I thought that was quite disgraceful, to be honest. I mean,
once again, well, that is on the One Football app, actually. If you download that in the link, the link to that where they're having to go at Lee Johnson is actually on there, so you can see that. Right, can I pass this around? Because I want to try and sort. I cannot do all this. I'm burning, honestly. I've spent too long under the lamps. Right, so 10,000 fans back in. Right, hopefully then start the new season, full house, or at least 30,000 in there. Because we've been away for a year as well. Are we going to be the difference next season? Are we going to actually be that 12th man? Michael, I'll start with you. I'll be back in a sec, lads. I'm just going to.
Okay, I'll only me can start this with statistics. 2018-19 and 2019-20. I've mentioned this before. With fans in the ground, we've only had one home defeat all season. This season, without fans in the ground, we've had 6 home defeats this season. So, if anyone out there is putting the narrative that the Sunderland fans are the problem, piss off and get rid of it, because that stat alone should tell you that that's wrong. The fans are not the problem. We've been the one constant throughout the last 5 years, which in the club's history has been a disgrace to the badge and to the name Sunderland, if we're being blunt. So, yes, I think we can be the 12th man. And obviously, I wasn't able to go yesterday. And obviously, I'm sure Jack would have absolutely loved being back in the ground. So, hopefully, next season, for a lot of fans, that'll be the first time they'll get back in the ground for, by the time August comes, about 16, 17 months. So, yes, I think we can be the 12th man. Anyone feel free to take over.
I'll go. I mean, fans can make a little difference, but with that stat, Michael, I believe this is the worst team we've had since we've been in League One. I do generally believe that. And this season's not been like any other season. Last season, we still had loads of games to play. We could have lost home games in that season, but we'll never find out because it went points per game and not actually getting to play it. For me, I just think players buckle under the pressure of expectations. I don't think having fans or not fans there really contributes a lot. Like, people go on like 12th man. It's not always the case. Not always the case. And I just feel like players just can't handle the expectations of playing for Sunderland because the expectations to go up, and some players can't handle it. And I think that's why we got beat mostly this season.
Right, are we on to Terry now? Terry, are we going to be the 12th man? Literally, that should give us extra help going for automatic promotion. What do you think?
As long as we bring some players in who actually want to play for Sunderland with passion and pride, because what I think is we need to bring in a captain, someone who's vocal, someone who's, strong, someone who can lead the side to victory. I think we need a strong individual in the centre of midfield. We need so many things we do need, but the fans are a massive help. And I do think if we get the right quality players in, possibly some from the Championship, who already have played behind in big stadiums, that's what we need to look for. Some big characters, some with experience, but also some with a lot of talent, and who can feed and bring into the youth from the under-23s as well. But the fans will make a massive difference, as the stats just proven there. Doesn't matter about what players we've got. We've had Max Power for 3 seasons. For me, it's time for Max Power to go.
Dino, you're one in there?
Yeah, I'm going to say, actually, I don't think it makes a difference, because people say the 12th man, so it's an advantage. So when we go down to 10 men, we should really have 11 men, because we'll be the 11th man. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Jack, you sampled it yesterday.
The fans. I do think most of our players have missed the fans this season. I think maybe the odd player like Wyke might have even slightly benefited from not having fans in, but I think on the whole, players have probably suffered from not having that same support there when it's late in the game and your legs are fading, hearing that roar. It can just give you that extra bit of motivation. It's like if you're running out at the gym or whatever, and you got music on, it's that little bit to going. And I think that's probably an example a lot of people can relate to. So I do think so, but I think more importantly, we need to just get things right on the pitch. I would honestly get rid of the vast majority of the players that are out of contract, the likes of Max Power, Callum McFadzean, and a few other ones that are probably going to get mentioned, and getting players that are quality enough to get us promoted. And if you do that, you shouldn't have to rely on the fans.
Right, okay. Just very quickly then, I want to say we've got 290 people on the live stream watching. 117 likes. Thanks for you for doing that. If you are watching, you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It is absolutely free to do so. And just checking now, we're only 6 subscribers away from 6,200 people already. So if even just 6 of you hit that subscribe button, it will take you a second, and it is free to subscribe. That'd be much appreciated and will help the channel out. Dino, you want in?
Yeah, I've just remembered, right? I know I bang this drum a lot, right? But no one's actually mentioned the fact that Lee Burge made a penalty save yesterday. Not one person mentioned it. And
if anybody's going to mention it, somebody who says he's the best keeper in League One would have mentioned it, and you did. Just very quickly, Michael was waiting to come in. Then we'll go to you, Terry. Michael.
Well, actually, it was a completely different point on Lee Burge, so I'm happy to wait and let this conversation flow if you want.
Terry?
In my match review yesterday, and even during the match, I did say the only person I couldn't blame on the pitch was Lee Burge.
So, Dino, obviously, we all support each other here, watch each other's content on their channels and stuff like that. And obviously, you've let the side down because we've all watched Terry's
I've watched it, but I'm not talking about Terry's video. I'm talking about here today. Nobody's mentioned it. Not one person.
The problem is the computer crashed, and I've actually got Lee Burge penalty save down on here.
That should be higher up on the list.
So with Dino, would you give Lee Burge a new contract?
I'm just an oily rag. He's the engine driver, so we follow his lead. Blame, yes, Philly's fault. Totally to blame Philly.
Yes, Michael, I would give him a new contract. Of course, I would.
Obviously, Phil doesn't rate Lee Burge at all. Phil doesn't rate Lee Burge one single bit. That's why he's the bottom of the list.
Me, I think I'll tell you, no, Lee Burge. I haven't got a problem with Lee Burge at all. I think he's a decent keeper, and if I want to put him at the bottom of the list, I thought we had more important things to discuss. All right, it's my list. All right, and if you're not careful, I'll take my list home with me, and then you won't be at play at all. So yes,
Phil, yes. Karen's just sent us a text. She says that's the shopping list. You just make it up as you go along.
Karen sent me a text that she's outside your house now. How good's that? He said, she
I mean,
said,
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
yeah. She said it's come to do the decorating for you because your room's been like that for far too long. Now,
Yeah, I've just stripped that wall today. Bloody stripped that wall today. If you watch me video earlier on today, you'll see that was full of wallpaper.
All right.
You and you bloody watching me videos, Malarkey.
Yeah, just very quickly, Nigel, friend of the show, says, Karen, get him in hand, whatever that means. Michael, you want in there, go on.
Sorry, I've just done that. Well, what was a general comment. Thanks very much to everybody who's watched our live streams, watched the content, watched everything this season. It's been a tough year for everybody in terms of the lockdown, in terms of the pandemic, and if our content's helped keep people going and giving them something to look forward to, or at least occupy their time, then that's it's well worth something. And I think doing live streams in particular, and Terry will know this as well, and all of us on here will know, it's not easy to keep going because I remember the cup final, the Tranmere game, the EFL Trophy. I'm sure we were on here for about probably a grand total of 7 hours altogether on the day. Obviously, did a show beforehand, so I just think it's a great effort from everybody here to have done live streams. So even if I'm on your own, I'm applauding it.
I've got to say, it's I applaud each and every one of you. We're a team here, and we thank everybody who's tuned in and watched. I mean, we had massive figures yesterday on that, and we aim to bring you as much content as we can over the summer, over the close season. Anyway, we are going to cover the Euros. We have talked about today actually covering the playoff final next week. Tony Lee says, thank you, the 3 V's.
Excuse me, that still doesn't know what that means.
What? Phil's in the club now.
Yeah, something like that. But yes, thanks for tuning in, and we do try and we'll do our best.
Is that Kazza laughing?
Yeah, it's Karen laughing. We will do our best.
Kazza, get on camera, man.
To keep Karen, come on and say hello to the lads. So we just we'll try our best to keep everything going. We've got the Euros and stuff like that. We got some great things lined up. We're going to take some cameras down to our 5-a-side. I think we've got football, golf. We're going to be out and about over the summer, and we're going to take cameras with us, and we're going to film it, and then you can see. We'll put it on the channel, and you can see what we get up to, and then along with obviously the Euros and stuff like that. That should keep some good football content going. I know we've run over, but one thing I wanted to ask you before we do go, I know it's been a bad end to the season. It's not what we wanted, But I'd like to ask. I'll pass it around. What's your favourite moment of the season been? Whether that be certain games or whatever, or maybe a moment what's happened on the channel over this past season. Michael, do you want to go first on that?
Oh God, favorite moment. Probably the unbeaten run that we went on when we went on a good 10-match unbeaten run. In fact, no, screw it. See, even though it's the most tin pot competition ever, and I didn't want to see us in it ever again, but we're gonna have another year of it. I think winning at Wembley was pretty important. Was pretty nice to see, even if it wasn't the competition I wanted. And for us getting 13,000 views on the live stream, that's pretty incredible. And Terry getting wasted on the night time is pretty hilarious as well.
Yeah, because you do. Right, okay, I'm passing it around still. One of my favourite moments, though, Michael, which included you, was definitely when at the end of the stream last week or the week before, when me, you, Dino, and Jack all got our shirts off. Woo!
That's once in a lifetime. That is not happening again.
That was my favourite bit.
Whoa, steady on.
And we will actually when we come off I think the 6 of us will have our tops on. Jack, Karen's here, by the way, everybody. This is my gorgeous wife, Karen. Yes, I'm punching above my weight. She's great.
Favourite moment of the season, Phil, is every time Kazza gets on screen. There you go.
You old smoothie.
It's Terry, you're supposed to be doing that, man.
Tell you. Well, I'll tell you what. After she's been round to Terry's, we'll send her round to yours. All right. Jack, you're too young. You want to
get back for life.
Yeah. Jack, you want to a bag for life. Jack, your favourite moment of the season? What do you think?
Tempted to say Dino getting pied, but I think I'm going to have to go with the White's equaliser yesterday. Sort of personal, being there, celebrating the goal, etc. Very special moment, and it was that hope of like back on now. I mean, less said about what happened after the bet. I've talked about it enough, and keeps making us sad. So I'm not going to go on about that. But yeah, White's equaliser.
Oh, don't say that, Brian. Honestly, if you want to, I better not say that. Dino, favourite moment of the season?
I've got two favourite moments.
Well, two favourite moments then.
Was one of them getting pied in the face?
No, the Trafalgar Square stream, I thought that was class. I mean, we're getting everyone on, being drunk on camera with you. It was class. Funny as hell. One of the funniest nights I've had on here. And when me and Jack came around yours to commentate on the game, it felt so nice just to be together, commentating, all reacting at the same time. And Gaza bringing us drinks and oranges at half time.
And Gaza coming, Karen coming under the green screen. Terry, favorite moment of the season. What do you think?
It has to be lifting the trophy, breaking the Wembley hoodoo. Someone in my age been to Wembley a lot of times, so yeah, definitely that was good. And also Dino's pie in the face was class, absolutely class.
Yeah,
yes.
That was superb. I like the way you say somebody your age. For me, then, definitely, without a doubt, actually winning at Wembley. It's been so long, and it was just a lovely moment.
Phil.
Go on. Still me glory then, Michael. Go on, jump in.
Yeah, of course. How desperate would you be to retain the EFL trophy next season now?
Every cloud.
It's all about promotion. So that was me footballing moment. Without a doubt, favourite moment on the channel, definitely the Trafalgar Square party. We was on for 3 hours or something. We're all drunk, and it was just such a laugh. And we got people to join us from the live chat and everything. And Dino got pied, and it was good, wasn't it?
No.
What was it? Oh yeah, and probably what capped it off was na 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 Jack Ross. I think that was Ben Allison. Ben Allison did that. Look, it's been great. It's been a pleasure. I mean, this channel has grown so much in this past 12 months, and hopefully with you lot out there, it'll continue to do so. Michael, you want to steal me glory again? Go on.
Yeah, of course I do. Probably on a great moment for the channel was the moment we hit 5,000 subscribers, because it was something we'd wanted to do for quite a while, and we've done it. And obviously we've got 6,000. So let's even get a road to 10,000, however long that's going to take.
Well, the rate we're going, it shouldn't be long. Once again, thanks to everybody who's even donated via the super chat. All that money will help us grow the channel and create more content for you. We do like to keep you entertained. We'll keep going. We'll have news. We're still going to do so. We'll still be here at least once a week to keep you keep up to date. And then obviously as the Euros kick in, more often, and all the different challenges we are going to do. It's a little bit sad, really. It's like we're saying we're going. From myself, wee Philly, and my gorgeous wife, Kaza, give him a wave. There you go. We'll say bye there. From Jack Dodds, Jack, say bye.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, Dino looks more miserable than he normally does, doesn't he? I mean, if that's even possible. Dino, just say bye to everybody, would you?
See you later.
Drop.
And Michael says say bye to all the ladies.
Au revoir, everybody. There you go. There's a bit of French.
Say all the single ladies, all sing for us. Right, okay. And Terry, say bye.
We'll meet again. Don't know where. Don't know where. But I know we'll meet again one sunny day. Bye.
All right. Listen, we're going to go now off camera. We're all going to celebrate by getting our shirts off.
Yes!
We'll see you soon. See you all. Bye-bye. Hey.